What does Duke have to do? There's a great scene in Coach Carter, the Samuel L. Jackson movie, where he gets mad at his team for celebrating. Right, they're getting dunks in games, and then they're hitting their little, it's almost like a touchdown dance. And the end of the screaming is, "Since when is winning not enough?" Why isn't winning enough for Duke? 5-0, no love for Duke football. I think partially they're hated on because people just can't wrap their brains around Duke football, and without, I don't know, a direct pointing to somebody like Riley Leonard, who everybody kind of rallies behind like they have the last two years. ESPN has taken to putting out each week in college football a ranking of the undefeated teams remaining. And the funny part is, every week, the number of teams that are undefeated remaining shrinks, right? It goes from 26 last week to 19 this week. It'll be less next week. And every single time, Duke is like third to the bottom. And then a bunch of people above them lose, and they stay down there. Duke is ranked 16th in the best undefeated teams in the country by ESPN out of 19 unbeatens. 16th out of 19. You may go, hey, they're above a few. They're only ahead of 2 service academies and Liberty. Army, Navy, and Liberty. That's it. And the funny part is, the little description explains my exact issue with them being where they are. They tear apart the offense. Laboring to score 21 on UNC was certainly a hint as to why the Blue Devils won't be unbeaten for much longer. The offense isn't good. Flamed them. So I'm going, all right. Look at the next sentence. But the defense has immediately become a Diaz defense, meaning Manny Diaz. Duke is allowing just 16.2 points per game. That's top 30 nationally. And 4.1 yards per play. That's 7th nationally. And the Blue Devils are making a ton of disruptive plays. That's a great defense. That is a great defense. If you have something that talented to stand on, if you have something that productive to stand on, how in the world are you seen as, fluky 5-0? Not very good, 5-0. Look at the stats. Yeah, look at the stats. Matter of fact, if you want to say the offense is bad and all these advanced, cool. The stats are what the stats are. I get that. But the eye test and the improvement is what I am impressed by. Right? Sure, their offense is bad, but guess what? If you want to take it from the angle they took it as, the offense isn't nearly as good as the defense. I'll put it that way. Each of the 4 or 5 games they've played, there's been reasons to think they're getting better. And that's worth it. That's worth something in college football. Star Thomas, what did he go? He went 100 yards, 100 yards, 100 yards on the ground. And the last one, he did over 100 yards in the last quarter and a half just to splash the pot a little, make it a little more sizzly. Now here's the real kicker. We're not asking for the world here. I'm not arguing, hey, in these lists, by the way, the Athletic put out a list, top 10 most surprisingly good teams ranked by how good they are. Again, Duke, 8th. And on both lists, they're behind teams like James Madison, who, sure, they absolutely rocked UNC. Mm-hmm. They also scored 13 points against Gardner-Webb.
And barely beat Charlotte.
Rutgers is above them on both lists. I know people like Greg Schiano, but why isn't Manny Diaz getting that love? UNLV, who granted has played well, but they've got drama. I just wanted to point that out. They're not nearly as cohesive a locker room as Duke is, and that matters. Pitt in the ACC is above them on both lists. Come on.
By the way, Duke did not even get one vote in the AP Top 25.
Which I believe there's only been 2 of in 2 Power 4 or Power 5 at the time conference teams to start 5-0 and not get a vote in the AP Top 25 in the history. One of them went on to, I don't know, I think they won 11 games. One went on to win 8. I had this question. I was on with the show previous to this one every weekday here on 99.9 The Fan with Adam Gold. And this was Thursday or Friday, and he asked, like, all right, who do you have, Duke or UNC? And I literally said, you can go find the podcast. I said, looking at it, I think UNC has some advantages here, like on the roster, but I have to believe what my eyes are telling me, and that is Duke is the better football team. Does it take 5 weeks for you to say, okay, the team that I'm seeing on the field every single week is different from the team that I thought was showing up? Because I get it. Like, if you think a team is terrible going into the season, and by the way, Duke was picked preseason to finish 11th in the ACC. If you think a team is a back half of the ACC team, and they play well in week 1 and 2, I get you saying, like, all right, well, I still want to see more of it. All right, I still want to see more of it. They won 5 times. They beat a Big Ten school, Northwestern, not the biggest and scariest, but they beat a Big Ten school. Right? They beat UConn. They beat UNC. They're not all pushovers. Maybe not the scariest lineup in the world, but a win is a win. All you can do is play the teams that are on your schedule. I'm not arguing to put them over Ohio State. I'm not arguing to put them over Alabama. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like, give them the also receiving votes category.
Yeah, give them a little respect here.
Give them just the quintessential mention. I always call it the Bill Russell mention, because anytime people start talking about who's the greatest basketball player of all time, there's someone loudly arguing for Michael Jordan. There's someone loudly arguing for LeBron. There's a few loudly arguing for maybe someone like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic, or Bird. And then there's always one person that just goes, well, if we're talking championships, it's Bill Russell. And everybody goes like, thank you for acknowledging. We all acknowledge the presence of Bill Russell in the discussion. Now we're going to go back over here and keep arguing about these ones. Like, just give Duke the, who's impressing a lot. They're pretty good. They're 5-0. Duke. All right, we have acknowledged Duke's presence. They have gotten their good thumbs up. Now we can go back to arguing about whoever else you want to argue about.